Hello everyone. Thank you for your interest in Mason's Professional and Technical Writing Information Program. My name is Minji and I'll be your host today. Today's speakers are Dr. Heidi Lawrence, Dr. Isidor Derpano, Dr. Rachel Grahamlusso, Holly Mason, Jakali, Melissa Myers, and Alan Strom. Welcome everyone, and please introduce yourselves and your backgrounds. Let's start with Heidi.
Hello, thank you, and thank you again to Minji, and thank you for everyone listening to this, and for everyone, my colleagues and wonderful students on the line today. My name is Heidi Lawrence. I'm an associate professor of English, and I'm the director of the MA concentration in professional and technical writing here at George Mason. I got my undergraduate degree at the University of Mary Washington in English. And then I got a master's degree here in this program as a student in professional writing. I finished this program in 2007. I have a lot of fond memories and just very strong beliefs in the value of this program for students' academic and professional trajectories. And I've gained so much from it and was just really excited to be a part of it again after I finished my PhD, and I'm excited to direct it now. I finished my PhD at Virginia Tech in 2013. My research interest is actually in medical and health controversies. I study controversial topics in health and medicine and science. I just published a book on vaccination controversy called Vaccine Rhetorics. And in addition to that research, I've also done work in the rhetoric of campus sexual assault and sort of the area of health and medicine. But my specialty in terms of what I teach in the program is rhetorical theory and research methods and proposal writing. So those are kind of my areas of expertise in professional writing, and that's me.
Dr. Isidor Derpano.
Hi, my name is Isidor Derpano, and I'm from Ghana. I have a first degree in English from Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Ghana, master's and PhD from Michigan Tech, and then I joined Mason in August 2016. My research examines the intersections between technical communication, election technology, and social justice. I just published a monograph on usability studies of biometric use in elections in Ghana, where I examined the social justice implications of the use of biometric in elections. And I've also studied election technologies. I just guest edited a special issue on election technology in technical communication, and how technical communicators can contribute to election-related issues. Since I joined Mason, I've been teaching undergraduate and graduate courses in technical communication. I've taught research methods. I've taught undergraduate classes in professional writing and advanced technical communication. I'm also proposing to teach international technical communication classes here at Mason. Yes, that's me.
Dr. Rachel Grahamlusso.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, I'm Rachel Grahamlusso. I am a writing consultant and a writing instructor in the government, nonprofit, and private sectors. And for the past year, I've also been adjunct faculty with the PWR program, specifically teaching English 503, the editing course. Though I've only been teaching with this program for a year, I think I've been at Mason longer than anyone else here. I completed my bachelor's in English at Mason in 2009. In 2012, I completed an MFA in creative writing with a concentration in poetry. And during that time, I also simultaneously earned a graduate certificate in professional writing and rhetoric from this program. And just in the past year, last year, 2019, I completed a PhD in writing and rhetoric. I was lucky to have Dr. Lawrence as my advisor and my PI for my dissertation on chronic pain and the rhetoric of numbers. I also worked with Dr. Lawrence to completely revise the 503 editing course back when I was a PhD student, and I'm excited to come back to Mason to teach it again.
Holly?
Hello, I'm Holly Mason. I am the Graduate Admissions Coordinator, which means that I am here to answer your questions and help with your application process. I have my undergraduate degree in English and Dance from UNC Greensboro, and I also graduated from the GMU MFA Creative Writing Program with a concentration in poetry in 2017. So I've been a member of the Mason community and the English department community for over or around 7 years now.
Zakiya?
Hi, my name is Zakiya Jakali. I am a full-time student in the PWR program. I have my undergraduate degree from Texas State University in philosophy and in English, so I have 2 of those. My research and topics that I typically write and speak about are mostly Black experience topics, so taking typical subjects in professional writing and writing for different topics and framing them in the lens of Black America. This will be my 2nd year in this program, which I am super excited about. And as I am approaching graduation in the next couple of semesters, I'm hoping to go into the sports writing field and more long-term, hopefully be opening my own dance studio. So yeah, that's me.
Melissa?
Hi, my name is Melissa Howell. I am the proposal director for a government contractor, and we provide information technology services and solutions to federal agencies. I completed my undergrad at George Mason in business administration in 2007, and now I'm in my last semester of the PWR program. I entered the program to get a new perspective on the writing and editing that I do on a daily basis, and have found the program to be life-changing in many ways, from the personal and professional connections I've made to the way I now approach what I do for a living and the way I think about life generally, or as Dr. Derpano will say, the way I've learned to problematize.
And Alan?
Hello, I'm Alan Strom. I'm a graduate student pursuing a Master's of English, or Master's of Arts in English, with a concentration in professional writing and rhetoric. I received my Bachelor's in English with a concentration in poetry from GMU in 2009. I've been in the PWR program since fall 2018, which is about 2 years ago. If all goes well for me, I'll probably be graduating next year in the spring. A big part of the reason why it has taken me longer than the average 2 years to finish the master's program is due to my job, where I'm the senior technical writer on a government contract serving the Federal Retirement Thrift Investment Board, which is the FRTIB for short. I was hoping to graduate this fall, but crazy times right now has also led to a surprisingly crazy amount of work for me. Enough that my manager actually agreed to hire on an additional communications person. Once I graduate, my plan is to find somewhere a little more technically and intellectually challenging to work, preferably in a leadership position where I can apply all the very useful knowledge that I've picked up from the PWR program. As for my research interests, there are just so many neat things that the PWR program has introduced me to that it's a little hard for me to narrow down just a few. But I guess I've mostly been drawn to organizational communication studies, especially when leaders are involved. And as for right now, though, I've kind of taken an interest in studies on technology, like how certain technologies affect how we communicate. And after 2 years, you think I'd be a little more settled, but it's hard when everything is so interesting.
Welcome, everyone. So, tell us about the graduate programs, Professor Lawrence. What could you tell us about the graduate programs in the professional writing that Mason offers? Are there undergraduate classes, work experiences, or summer courses that your department looks for?
Great, thank you, Minji. Yes, so in the area of professional writing, professional and technical writing at Mason, we have 2 primary programs. We have an MA in English with a concentration in professional writing and rhetoric, And just as a little bit of a warning, we are planning to change the name of that to Professional and Technical Writing this fall, but that is the name of it right now. And then we also have a graduate certificate in Professional and Technical Writing. We'll talk a little bit more about the specific program requirements of those two programs, I think, in a later slide. The programs have a similar core of some basic information or advanced information about rhetoric, professional writing, how to be a professional and a writer in a variety of workplaces, how to solve problems at an advanced level, so those sort of more higher level technical skills, as well as the finer grained technical skills, things like editing, document design, and things like that. So again, we'll talk about that a little bit more in a later slide, but those are the broad differences or the broad core of the two programs. The certificate is a slightly shorter program. It's 6 courses or 18 credits, and the MA is 10 courses or 30 credits. Within the certificate, you actually can concentrate in one of two spaces, either technical communication or proposal writing, which is just a 2-course series in either technical communication or proposal writing that sometimes people in a certificate want to pursue in order to really kind of stamp their resume in one of those 2 areas. In our program, we really think of 3 primary kinds of students who are drawn to our program and who really thrive here. First are recent grads, students who maybe graduated, like in a humanities discipline or even in a technical discipline, who come out of undergrad and say, I really would like to pursue a career in writing, but I'm missing a few things, or they really like to build skills in some specific areas. So those are people looking to launch careers. Then there are early career participants, and this is the category I fell in when I was a student in this program. Students with maybe 5 to 7 years of experience who have a good work experience under their belt, might have some really great connections and workplace experience, but really want to focus and concentrate in on writing and perfect those skills. And then more experienced professionals. So perhaps Alan and definitely Melissa fall into this category of students who have a lot of experience, who are really, in a managerial position already and are looking to either broaden that base, advance to a different part of the organization, or who are just looking to sort of professionalize in a really specific way that an MA or graduate certificate allows them to do. So those are the 3 kinds of things we tend to see in our classes, students starting out, in the middle, or farther along the way. And we think that between the combination of the skills that we build in the courses that we offer, again, offering that combination of really theoretical and practical skills, as well as the great connections that you make to your network of colleagues in the classroom, that the program can overall help you to build a wide range of skills, networks, connections that are needed to make that next career launch. So in terms of what we look for students who are coming to the program, we really see a wide range of students. Some people haven't been in a classroom in 20 years and are a little bit anxious about that. Some people just came out of a classroom but are perhaps daunted by their professional goals and are thinking, there are all these big things I want to achieve professionally. I don't know how to break it down. So we're looking and seeing all kinds of students with different backgrounds in our application process. We do like to see a combination of professional and academic experience, but that fits a wide range of students. A student who comes in with maybe just 1 or 2 small writing samples from an internship, that could be a really great thing for us to see, but we're also really happy to look at things like term papers or lengthier pieces of analysis you might have written as an undergraduate. And again, we see people from all sorts of disciplines. You don't have been an English major as your undergrad in order to apply for or succeed in the program. We see people with technical backgrounds from all areas of the workforce and the academy come to the program who want to specialize and improve their skills in writing. So we're really looking for you to come as you are and to be, offer your diverse experience to our community.
Holly, as a graduate admissions coordinator, can you talk about the requirements to apply for the MA program and what should prospective students do to prepare for the application process?
Absolutely. So the requirements for both the MA application and the certificate application are pretty much the same. We will need your unofficial transcript. We will need your goal statement, 2 recommendation letters, a resume, and a writing sample. you will only be required to submit your official transcript if admitted into the program. There are some additional application requirements for international students, and I'll touch on those as well. Some more details for you. So what we're looking for in a goal statement is, the goal statement is your opportunity to describe how you see this program fitting into your larger goals, and to show your understanding of what kinds of outcomes our program supports. We want to know what you want to do with the degree and whether we can help with that. And the goal statement is usually roughly 750 to 1,000 words. The letters of recommendation should come ideally from an academic source, but could also come from other professional contacts. Anyone who can speak to your ability to be a strong thinker, writer, communicator, collaborator, and/or leader in a professional environment. Of course, you wouldn't want to select a personal contact or family member. A couple more details. The writing sample. The writing sample is a 1,500 to 2,000 word piece that comes from an academic and/or professional source. So the committee reviews the writing sample to see the strength of your writing and analytical abilities. So any writing that showcases those is appropriate. We recommend that applicants write a brief introduction to each professional sample, outlining the audience, purpose, and any particular context of the writing that we would need to know. One note about international applications is that you would also want to check out the additional requirements that are listed in the link at the very end of our presentation. International applicants will also need to submit transcript evaluations and English proficiency scores for students who were educated outside of the US or Canada, the UK, and Australia or New Zealand. Thank you.
Alan, could you talk to us about your experience being a master's student in the department?
Sure. So my original intentions for joining the PWR program were mostly focused on my becoming better at technical writing. Well, actually, I take that back. If I'm going to be honest, I kind of just wanted a fancy piece of paper telling everyone what I felt like I already knew, that I already was a good technical writer, and that my company should pay me more. But that's kind of short-sighted, and that's how short-sighted and clueless I was about all the things that actually really go into technical writing, and clueless about how much the PWR program was going to really blow my mind. I figured that I'd be learning a lot of stuff that I already either knew about or knew how to do, like how to make a professional looking brochure, or when to use a colon versus a semicolon. And I was right, the PWR program has provided me with instruction on those things. However, it has also taught me the why of those things, and how to figure out the why for myself, and why figuring out the why matters. Basically, the PWR program has done a fantastic job of showing me how little I knew and how little I still know. Don't get me wrong, it's very important for a technical writer to know how to format a brochure or edit a document well, but after learning more about the rhetoric of things, formatting and editing now kind of seem like chapters in a massive book that is our field.
Professor Lawrence, what are the course requirements for the graduate programs? What are some required classes for students as well as elective classes for students to choose from?
Great, thank you, Minji. So I'm going to take a little bit of this description, but I'm also going to hand off to my fellow faculty colleagues to talk a little bit about their courses. So as I mentioned earlier, there's a kind of core to both of the certificate and the MA programs of 4 courses: 501, 502, 503, and 505. 501 and 503 are offered every fall. 502 and 505 are offered every spring. And as you can see from across those just brief descriptions there, they kind of hit the basics of the theory practice divide that our program tries to strike and reflect in the coursework. English 501 is a course that I've taught a lot that's the introduction to our program. It gives you all of your sort of beginning, advanced, deep dive into rhetorical theory, theories of professional and technical writing, lots of discussion of problem solving processes and how to use theory to solve real problems in the real world. As a student in the program years and years ago, it was my absolute favorite course, maybe second favorite course, only second to the editing course, because it really allowed me to take a lot of high theory concepts and big, broad principles about how people communicate and how writing happens in the world and bring them directly to my workplace and use them to solve real world problems on a day-to-day basis. So even though 501 is sort of one of our bigger theory courses, it still gives people a lot of grounded practical experience and opportunities to think about how theory can change the world and what it is that you can do with the program in your real life. So as I said, we recommend students start with those fall courses 501, especially if you are considering applying to the program and decide to enroll. We always recommend students to take 501 first because it really sets all of that strong theoretical groundwork for all of the work that comes next. Isidor, Rachel, would you like to talk a little bit more about 502 and 503?
Okay, so I've been teaching 502 for a while. I think I've taught about 3 or 4 sessions. And basically that class 502 is a survey of research methods in the field of technical communication. What tools, what problem solving tools do professionals in professional writing use to resolve some of their questions? So we survey and talk about a lot of qualitative research approaches like interviews, how to design surveys, how to analyze, let's collect the data, analyze the data, and make sense of that data to help you resolve a problem or think about a broader problem. So the core of 502 provides the skill to doing such going about searching problems. Um, it's dry, kind of dry and boring. So I try to spice it a little bit. I try to get students to do fun things, right? Or talk about topical issues. Last spring, for instance, we decided to examine diversity in the PWR program. So what does diversity mean for technical communicators in the PWR program at Mason? And so students came up with research questions, survey questions. We did literature reviews, analyzed the data that we collected, and then we came together to decide on what diversity is, what's the state of diversity in the professional writing and rhetoric program at Mason. I get students to also look at my work. So my interviews, I give those to students. They transcribe and then they analyze to just see how some analytical approaches like coding, how do you code an interview? How do you make sense of data, right? We think about these broad tools because we believe that you can't just solve problems without approaching those problems from systematic angles, right? And so how do professional writers do it? We don't talk about quantitative approaches. We mostly use qualitative because professional writing, we value the human aspect. So we want to come into contact with people and make sense of what people do and interpret those to see how we can co-construct knowledge about a situation, about issues, right? So through these methods, we expose or I expose students to the various ways that they can conduct research. Then they can even add value to their workplace. So for instance, if you realize that there is a big issue about disparity or there is a rift between engineers and technical writers, how do you solve that problem? Do you just go attacking people how do you let your bosses or supervisors know that there is an issue, and this is how you can go about it. Melissa, for instance, tried in my class. Melissa decided to look at proposal management and study the various proposal management processes, right? Zakiya also did something about black girls or black dancers who find themselves among white people. How do they feel, right? So these are some of the ways that we encounter the world, and we believe that if we expose students to the practical aspect of thinking about problems and solving those problems, they'll be in a better position to add value to conversations at their various workplaces. And it shouldn't be just the organization, but they can go out there to the public life and make add value to public conversations. So this 502 gives broader perspectives about how to understand and how to collect data and analyze data to come up with meaningful solutions to societal or workplace problems. Thank you.
Okay, this is Rachel. So for 503, 503 is the Editing Theory and Practice course. In this course, we practice different kinds of editing. So we practice revision, we practice copy editing, we practice proofreading. We edit text, but we also edit things that don't have text. So students will edit sound, or they'll edit an image. And then we also have more traditional grammar lessons as well. The real value of a course like this is that you're not only going to learn how to apply these practical, marketable skills, but you also learn why you apply them in a certain way. And Alan was speaking to this earlier. You know, we talk about punctuation standards, but more importantly, we talked about when you want to break those rules and why you might want to break them and how to go about doing it. This is the part where the theory meets the practice. My goal for this class is not to train people to be just the human version of spell check. There are a million ways to edit one document. My goal is to help you think about all those decisions that are available to you when you edit, and then use rhetoric to make the best decision.
And just a quick discussion on some of the electives. Thank you so much, Isidor and Rachel. We do offer some other courses. We have a 2-course sequence in proposal writing, and that's a course that lots of students are interested in if you're interested in pursuing proposal writing. Either it covers government, federal proposal management, and at sort of a high level, nonprofit proposal writing, as well as research and grant writing for academic environments. I think every student on the line was in my class last year, and it was great to have a student like Melissa, who is a full-time professional, really experienced proposal manager, in with a wide range of students some of whom have never heard of what a proposal is before. And in that class, we get to have a lot of that peer-to-peer mentoring, networking connections. Students get jobs out of that class. It's a really dynamic space. Technical communication and web authoring and design oftentimes go together. These are places where you're going to get into more of your coding, much more of your sort of classic technical communication, and get, again, some really great skills and new ways of working with text in the workplace. And then we also offer some more theoretical and some practical courses like Cultures of Workplace Writing and Theories of Rhetoric, which cover a wide range of different phenomena that are going on in the workplace and cover the theories of how to study them. So again, across those electives, and we have some additional ones that didn't make the slide, but those are some of the highlights of where we really strike this balance between theory and practice.
That sounds great. Zakiya, could you tell us about an elective that you enjoyed?
Well, I'm actually glad that Dr. Lawrence brought up the proposal writing class, because that was actually the class I was going to talk about. So I took the intro to proposal writing class in fall of 2019. Is that correct? Yes. Fall of 2019, I took the intro to proposal writing. I knew what proposals were, wasn't necessarily interested in it, but you know, every class has its benefits, and this one actually had many benefits to the class. It was very real world oriented, very hands on, which is the best way that I learned. Dr. Lawrence did a really good job of incorporating actual clients for us to work with, as well as fake scenarios as well, in order for us to get a more well-rounded approach to how proposals work. Many guest speakers came in to show the different sides of proposal writing, and there were just a lot of beneficial things that were learned other than just staring at a book and learning definitions and just all of that boring stuff that no one actually is good at. But I got a lot out of that class. I really appreciate Dr. Lawrence's approach to that class, specifically since that was my first semester of this program. It really set the tone for how I should expect the rest of the program to go, and so far, the rest of the program has very much been that way. So I enjoyed working with clients. I enjoyed working with my group mates. I enjoyed talking with both Melissa and Alan because we were all in that class together. So the proposal writing class was definitely my favorite elective class that I've taken thus far.
Thank you, Zakiya. Course requirements are not the only source for success as a graduate student. Professor Lawrence, could you tell us about the research opportunities, capstones, thesis, and dissertation requirements?
Sure. So as it states on the slide here, we really think of research, and as Dr. Derpano, I think, really articulated really masterfully, we think of research as a tool for problem solving, as a way of understanding workplace and public problems in important and routinized ways. We do primarily qualitative, though some quantitative research in our program, and we use those tools again in ways to try to understand and solve problems. So we see research in a maybe a little bit of a different way than we think of typically. We think of research perhaps as like students at a lab bench running experiments on mice in a petri dish or something. Our research looks a little bit different, but we think it still has a really a big impact on the world. In terms of the formal research requirements for the class or for the program, Dr. Derpano already spoke about 502, which is one of our required courses for either the certificate or the MA. And I'll let him talk maybe a little bit more about that in a moment. Students finish out their research through one of two options, either English 799, which is a thesis. That would be a 2-credit series. So you take 2-course series. So it's 6 total credits of thesis, or a final project through English 797 to complete their MA coursework. And the thesis projects are usually longer. They're more traditional and a more extended academic study of a workplace or other public problem. So we have a sort of summary of some of the recent theses on a slide coming up, I believe, but they sort of talk about a range of public phenomena that are happening in the public sphere, as well as some things that are happening in the workplace or in the academy. Projects tend to be shorter and more confined to problems that are going on in a workplace, or might take on a non-traditional or creative form. So perhaps an audio, video kind of presentation, a web text, a website, something like that. Students who tend to prefer the thesis are students who perhaps wrote a thesis as an undergraduate and want to write kind of a bigger paper as a master's student, who, like Alan was saying, are kind of taken with a lot of different research ideas and want to really run with one of those in extended form as they finish out the master's program. And some workplaces actually require a thesis. So it depends on the student whether or not they want to pursue that or their workplace requirements. Projects tend to be for students. They're great for students who are earlier in their careers, who haven't built a portfolio yet. All of our classes build portfolio materials for you to use as writing samples for an eventual job opportunity or an internship or interviews or other things like that. But the project can be a nice place to build out lots of different types of materials in an area you're interested in. You get lots of feedback on them. They're workshopped. they're research-based, they end up being just like really strong writing samples for students to use moving forward. So those are the places where research kind of lives in our program. And Dr. Derpano, do you have anything to add from 502 and how that fits into here? I'm not sure he heard me. Isidor?
How do I come up with a research question? How do I come up with a research topic? Sorry about that. How do I write a literature review? So even though we take a problem-solving approach, we also discuss some of the genres that are very relevant to professional work. How do you write a literature review? How do you write a research proposal? How do you go through or think about ethics and ethical implications of conducting qualitative research? So it's not just, oh, I found this, I want to go and conduct this research, and then you go out there. We take you through the various processes. IRB, if you have to do human-centered research, then it means that you have to go through IRB, and proposal writing, literature review, annotated bibliography. Some students come to the class and they have no idea how an annotated bibliography looks like or how to write an annotated bibliography. So we talk about that, right? And some other relevant genres. So it's not just learning about, oh, this is how we interview, or this is how you have to write a survey. How do you transfer the knowledge? How do you share the knowledge? What genres help you to translate your message to people, right? What are those things that you have to learn to do? You need to learn how to write a literature review as a grad student, and we do a little bit of that. You need to learn how to write an annotated bibliography. You need to learn how to write a research proposal, because and I mostly tell students that if you're able to write a very good research proposal in this class, 799 or 797 shouldn't be a problem, because you already have a proposal from 502. So you just identify a professor you want to work with, you show the proposal to the professor, and then maybe you build on from there, right? So it gives you that basis, the basic foundation to conducting higher research. And if it's capstone, we also help you to think about how to go about that process as well. Thank you.
That sounds great. Melissa, could you tell us about what you did for your thesis/dissertation research?
Well, I'm actually going to do a capstone project, and it's coming up for me this fall. My project is inspired, as Dr. Derpano had said earlier, from my proposal writing at work. And I've been working on the project throughout my time in the PWR program. For my project, I plan to conduct a qualitative study to explore ways in which government acquisition officials use their discretion during source selection. And during my study, I'll be looking at GAO documents and interviewing several acquisition officials. And the goal of my project is to gain better insight in how to write proposals that are more persuasive. And maybe I'll have the opportunity to publish some small articles off of this project.
That sounds really interesting. Thank you. So one of the important things when we're choosing the right graduate school is fit and the overall department. That's one of the questions I get a lot from incoming students in my department. Professor Lusos, how would you describe the department and what kind of support is there for students?
For me, the culture of the PWR program is defined by variety and by professionalism. Our students all bring different backgrounds and experiences, which make our classroom discussions richer, as Dr. Lawrence has already referenced earlier. in the same class, you might find someone who has been working as a technical writer for 2 years. You might find someone who has been working in an office environment for 20 years, but they're just now making a transition to professional writing. Our students all bring different professional goals, and then we see those goals develop and change over their time in the program, as Alan mentioned from his experience earlier. And as faculty, we encourage that. We don't have a cookie cutter student. We know that some students are making a career transition, some are planning to move up in their current job, some are just getting started, and frankly, some students haven't figured out what their next move is, and that is perfectly fine. Whatever the goals, as faculty, we're excited to help our students use their time in the program to help them achieve whatever their goals are ultimately. To that end, we provide a lot of different kinds of opportunities for students to take advantage of if they are serious about their goals. We have professional development assignments embedded in our coursework. We have memberships and officer positions in our student chapter of the Society for Technical Communication, which I started in my first year of the PhD. And it's changed a lot in the past few years, but honestly, it changes because whoever is more involved in that student chapter gets to use it to do what they need to get done. It's just a really fantastic opportunity. And then we have, I would say, 1 or 2 kind of big professional development events every semester, whether it's inviting a speaker onto campus who's an expert in a topic of interest to, frankly, to the majority of students who are putting together that event, and also networking events as well. And then all of these things are optional, by the way. So like with most things in life, in this program, the more you put into it, the more you're going to get out. And students have ample opportunity to put as much into the program as they're willing, and they have the support of faculty to make that happen.
Zakiya, what kind of support have you received in the program, and how would you describe the department?
Well, for starters, I definitely would think of our department as more of a small community. It's a very small department. I pretty much have had the same classmates and the same teachers, so it makes it really easy to create a very easygoing classroom environment. And as many people know, I am a person who likes an easygoing environment. And I do very well in them. And it's really nice because I moved here from Dallas, Texas, and I had no friends, I had no connections, I had no contacts, nothing. I moved here and started from scratch. But since I have been in the program for a year, now, I've made really great friends, really nice contacts. Even the professors and that we are like comfortable, and we know that we have options and that they're always here to help us out, look for whatever, and answer any questions that we've had. Even with my projects, I have reached out to professors for interviews. I've interviewed Dr. Lusos, I've interviewed Dr. Fernandez. It's a really close-knit community that we have here at the PWR program, and it makes me much more comfortable knowing that as I'm approaching graduation day, I can reach out for help when it comes to maybe finding a job, or even for looking for letters of recommendations, all of that, knowing that my teachers know who I am because I've had the same teachers over and over and over again. And even if I have classmates who I know, I could reach out if their company was hiring or anything like that. Like, having such a close-knit community and program is very helpful and useful. And it comes with so many resources, and I'm very thankful for that as someone who came here with literally nothing under my belt. So it's really nice.
Professor Lawrence, What type of internship opportunities are available? And where do students find jobs after graduation? Could you give us examples of jobs students have moved on to after graduating?
Thank you. So professional development, as Dr. Lusos mentioned a moment ago, and I think is reflected in what Zakiya was saying as well, is a really important component of the program. We really see our program as a bridge for students from sort of what they were doing before and maybe their interests and professional background to what they want to do next. And so we think of ourselves as a really important part of that story and that process. Every class does include a professional development requirement, as I believe Rachel just mentioned. This can range from a wide range of things. Sometimes it requires students to find or engage a mentor, start a mentoring relationship with someone, which can be very unnerving and difficult as for people at any stage of their careers. Sometimes professional development requires that students will learn a new task or a new skill. Sometimes it just requires that they talk to each other and form friendships and relationships. We really try to make the program a space where everyone is each other's first and most important network, leaving the program as they graduate. We also sponsor seminars and workshops every semester. We have an employer network through our executive advisory board, which started 2 years ago, and they reach out to us as they have internships and entry-level positions or advanced level positions that open. We have obviously a department listserv and a LinkedIn page and other mechanisms for communicating job opportunities with one another. And I just anecdotally, talking in class, meeting with clients, working in small teams and developing those good, strong professional relationships. That's how a lot of students get their jobs out of our program. This is the student chapter for the Society for Technical Communication is also a key professional area. We really try to, where appropriate and where it makes sense for our students, connect students with professional organizations and associations that we think can help them to continue to develop after our program, and STC is an important part of that. Students who join the student chapter of the STC get access to the jobs data bank that STC collates for the area. So that can be a great space to get a job and search for jobs, as well as make the connections necessary to find good opportunities. And this year, we're actually launching something called the Graduate Pathways Program alongside the Association for Proposal Management Professionals, my goodness. And that will be a kind of pathways program that formalizes a lot of the things that Zakiya was talking about from the proposal writing class. We work with clients in that class, we bring in working professionals, and through that program, we're hoping to kind of standardize some of the student connections so that they can build to more productive and specific job opportunities after the class is over. And one key component of the Graduate Pathways program is going to be a virtual career fair that we'll host biannually for students in the proposal writing class. So we're working on really building this out and helping to strengthen the areas where we're already strong, which is connections to community, professionalism, and networking. And again, lots of students leave the proposal writing class, the technical editing, communication classes with lots of different types of jobs and opportunities, again, through classmate connections, through clients, things like that. So those are kind of our key areas for professionalism.
Wow, it sounds like you guys provide a lot of support for students. Alan, could you tell us about your internship experience and how that's prepared you for a future job?
Sure. So I actually I haven't gotten any internship experience necessarily from the PWR program, but since I'm a technical writer and part of a team that's growing right now, my manager has tasked me in the past and I think probably in the future with reaching out to anybody that I know in the program who might be in need of an internship or a full-time position. So the PWR program, hasn't only introduced me to so many cool things, but it's also introduced me to a lot of very cool people who also happen to be interested in similar academic and professional interests as me. So in the spring of last year, my manager told me that he got approval to hire another technical writer, and since I'd been the only technical writer on the contract for about 7 years, and because the work was really starting to bury me, I was overjoyed to hear this news, and it couldn't have come at a better time, since now I had access to a whole pool of viable candidates through the PWR program, which also meant that my manager didn't have to spend as much time on recruitment efforts. So sure enough, the job went to a recent PWR graduate, whom I now have the pleasure of working with every day. So even though the PWR program has done a wonderful job making me into a more effective technical writer, it's also given me something of equal or greater value, which is access to a network of professionals in the field of TechCom, which is something I never had until I joined the program.
If I can actually just build onto what Alan just said, I can tell you, even as faculty, it's been really wonderful to build that network for myself as well. As a writing consultant, I do a lot of freelance writing and editing work, and I can't take all of it. And up until teaching this program, I had a network of like maybe one other person that I could share work with, and that's grown. And I have had 2 students of mine that I have now sent at least one job to, that I know that they they won, they were awarded the work, and they completed the work, and they got really good feedback from the people, from their clients. And so, yeah, the professional development is good for the students who need it, but like Alan said, it's also good for those of us who want to grow our networks as well.
That sounds fantastic. Holly, could you remind us of the deadlines for the application process?
Absolutely. All of the deadlines are on our website, and they are a little bit different this fall 2020. Due to COVID, we've been able to adjust our priority deadline, but typically the fall consideration priority deadline is March 15th. This fall, it will be August 1st. Our final deadline for this fall is August 21st. Our spring priority deadline is October 15th, and our spring final deadline is December 15th.
Thank you. Now for some frequently asked questions. What will this program do for my career? When are classes? Where can I see class descriptions? Can I do the program part-time? What are the benefits of going part-time versus full-time?
Holly, I think we said we'd tag team these, but then we didn't decide who would do it. But I'll just take the first one, and we can kind of go from there. I hope that to this point in our discussion, anyone listening to this has a really strong sense of what this program can do for your career. The coursework is really designed to give you that combination of theory and practice that will give you the skills you need to advance your career, whatever stage it's in. And that's hopefully mapped to connections, network, faculty, expertise, research that will let you do exactly what you want with those tools that you gain in the classroom. So, and then again, hopefully whether that advancement looks like going from a lead to a manager, or whether that goes from being out of a writing job and into a writing job, we try to help students through all these different mechanisms get from where they are to where the next stage, and what the next stage is and what it looks like for them. Holly, do you want to talk about classes and class descriptions?
Absolutely. Classes for this program are typically held in the evenings from either 4:30 to 7:10 or 7:20 to 10 p.m. Those will usually meet once a week. There are online courses which are offered either synchronously or asynchronously. Of course, this fall 2020, most if not all of our classes will be offered online, so those times might be a bit different. Most of our classes, when they are on campus, are held at the Fairfax campus. To see class descriptions, you can go to our website and click on Courses tab. And Heidi, I'll kick it back to you. The answer is yes, the program can be done part-time, and I'll let you speak to the benefits of part-time versus full-time.
Yeah, I'll talk to that really briefly, but I'll invite any of the students on the line to offer an opinion there as well. Absolutely, we have a lot of students who go part-time. Typically, a lot of students who are new to maybe being back in school or haven't been on campus for a long time often are going part-time as well. And so it's often a really great idea to go one class at a time or maybe at two at most at the beginning. That's really normal. You'll find lots of people in your cohort who are in the exact same position, and that can actually be a great re-entry into sort of higher ed and being in a master's program. But certainly there are students who are here full time as well. So no matter what you choose, you'll have lots of people in your cohort who are in a similar spot as you and who can kind of talk through some of those challenges and opportunities. And also to note, all of our professional development programming will be held online this fall as well. So any student who is choosing to apply and start this fall, you'll get the benefits of the online courses and we'll be working within for everyone's safety, but we'll also be holding all of our programming online. So you won't lose any of the benefits of the in-person professional development collection or connections and networking and things like that. But do any of the students have thoughts or final thoughts on part-time versus full-time?
Yeah, Heidi, I do. I'm sorry, Dr. Lawrence. So I am known for being very aggressive when it comes to my schooling. Even in my undergraduate, I took 18 hours my final 2 semesters of undergraduate. So I always tend to be a little bit more aggressive when it comes to finishing up school. I will say that I took 3 classes my first 2 semesters. It was difficult. It was not easy, that's for sure. And someone coming out of undergrad, I took a 2-year break before coming to into my graduate degree. So coming from 18 hours and then going to 9, I was like, oh, that's half the hours. It'll be fine. It was really hard doing the 3 classes. And I would recommend, especially if you are coming in, even if you're coming in a little bit if you've been out of school for a while, definitely start with 2 classes. 3 classes coming in for my undergraduate was a little bit challenging, trying to juggle that plus also working. But I will say now that I have the 3 class, now that I have already done 6 classes, I only have 4 left for my degree to be until I'm done. So I will be finishing off easier than I started off with, which will be a little bit more beneficial for when I'm looking for jobs. I have more time to go to interviews and stuff like that. So I will say on the back end, it's a little bit easier and it's a little bit more helpful, but I would definitely recommend if you're planning on being full-time, go ahead and start off with 2 rather than doing 3 like I did. I almost did 4 and I'm so glad I didn't. I almost did 4 my first semester. I'm so glad I didn't. So definitely think about remembering that it is a step higher than for undergraduate classes. It's going to be a little bit more tougher, a little bit more hands-on than undergraduate classes were. And I just wish I had somebody tell me that before I jumped in with the 3 classes that I did. Everyone was very helpful with helping me out, though. The teachers seemed to be very concerned about my 3 classes, but it all worked out. I'm still going strong.
Sounds great. Here are some helpful links for prospective students to guide you before and during the application process. Before we close, what's the best way for prospective students to get in touch with everyone? Maybe
typically students, oh, I'm sorry. I would say that typically students can go through me if they'd like. I'm a good starting place to email me at hmason2@gmu.edu. Dr. Lawrence, I don't know if you'd add something different.
I was going to suggest the same thing. Yep, Holly is a great place to start for any program questions. And though anyone is welcome to reach out to me with any questions, I'm hlawren, LAWREN2 @gmu.edu. But Holly can probably answer your question more quickly than I can because she's the expert.
Thank you, professors and students, for answering all the questions. If anyone has any final comments, feel free to say something. Otherwise, thank you so much.